Hey guys, welcome back to the Ghost and Friends channel. Special guest tonight, we've got General Will. Will is going to remain anonymous with us here, so no technical difficulties or anything like that. But for you South Carolina viewers, welcome to the channel. And General Will, welcome to the channel, brother. How are we doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Tough weekend, but we bounced back. We look forward to Akron this week. Um, you know, keep heads up. Played really well, so there's some moral victories there. But it would be nice to be, coming 3-0. But having a good week. How about yourself?
Having a great week, man. Been a little under the weather, or was a little under the weather last week. Made it through that, and so feeling, you know how some of us guys, those sicknesses, man, I feel like you're never going to get over it. And so yeah, feeling good. A good Saturday of college football. I love this time of the year, but I'll be fully honest. I definitely kind of wanted to see you guys pull that one out. I will tip my cap to you guys. Y'all had an excellent game day atmosphere. College game day was fantastic all morning. A packed house, ruckus crowd for, that game lasted like 4.5 hours. It seemed like they stayed with it, with the energy in it and whatnot. It was a great scene for a beautiful college football game to play out. It had everything, all the wild, crazy things you want to see in a college game. Like yourself, kind of want to see the home team win that one. Kind of just talk to me a little bit about, if you would, Will. You guys get out to the big league early on, 17-0. LSU doesn't look like they're going to stop the run game at all. What were your thoughts during that early first part of that one when you guys jumped on the Tigers a little bit?
Yeah, so I thought, we started out really well. Defensively, we were running a 4-man front. I think we were giving them problems. I do believe that they got away with a lot of hugging and holding. I don't know if I saw any of the photos after the game that a lot of Gamecock Twitter is posting. I think it's Emory Jones is their right tackle. There was a lot of pictures of him on the outside of the jersey tugs there, but I thought defensively we came out well. Had the pick six called back early.
Yeah.
But we were making plays. And then offensively, that first drive, I think, was scripted beautifully. A lot of, getting Lenoris out of the pocket, quick dump offs to make him comfortable. Josh Simon made some plays and then ultimately ended up, a Lenoris Sellers touchdown. The first half went really well. And then, we go up 17-0. And then defensively, we moved into a couple more 3-man fronts because I guess we tried to play a little chess and see if, add another defender on the field. Didn't really work out so well. They kind of, started running the ball a little bit more efficiently. And then, just wear and tear in the game. And obviously, Lenoris going down really hindered our offense. And, Robbie Ashford, he's a great athlete. I think I don't know if it's Dow Loggins just doesn't have faith in his arm or or we just didn't want to pass and tried to hold on for the win there. But I think moving forward, if Lenoris is not going to be able to go next week, we've got to either have faith or die trying.
Yeah, no, fully agree. If he's in the game, give him the shot to win that. I hate to say it, I'm going to go back a little bit on some things you said because I thought you made some really excellent points, but it just kind of felt like just kind of held on for dear life. Once Robbie got in the game, that second pick six that was called back, that I know there's a lot of questions about that one. That's a pretty tough call, to be honest. That would have gone so far in getting that one done, obviously. But yeah, with Robbie in there, I get it. You gotta have trust, and so fully agree with you there. If he is a guy for an extended period of time, you gotta let him sling it, because y'all kept getting beat in that second half on third downs. You have some very manageable third downs, but sometimes like you're gonna have to put the ball in the air to convert, and so it was hard. I rooted for that kid at Auburn. I know he was kind of in a tough situation regarding coaching, but yeah, same as you, big fan, root for the kid, tremendous athlete. But talking about your points for you mentioned the 4-man front and the 3-man front, I noticed the same thing. And obviously, there's times where you run a 3-man front, you want to get another linebacker or somebody else in the secondary because you do have a very good LSU secondary, wide receiving core and a pretty strong Garrett Nussmeier. And so I can understand that, but to me, man, that weakness of the LSU offense is just right up the middle, guard, center guard. That kind of to me is the point that I would attack a lot of. Those two tackles are pretty salty. They really are. However, they're getting it done. I'll go back and check on some of those early, maybe non-flags that you're talking about. But yeah, great point. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. You always, when you're on this end of it, we'll always have questions. If we would have done this little thing differently, how do we pull? We probably pull this one out. But when Lenoris went down, were you at the game by chance, General?
Yes, I was there.
What was kind of the vibe of the stadium, man? I mean,
in the stadium, it was a little unclear because you don't get to watch replays or anything. So with,
right.
2 seconds left in the half, you see him get tackled, kind of hobble off. And you're like, okay, right before half, and then he comes out, and I can't remember if it was the start or first drive or second drive where he came back out or came back in, and then they pulled him out again. So we really didn't know because he was walking around on the sideline. It wasn't like he had his helmet with him. It wasn't, so you just really didn't know. But, the longer Robbie was in there, the more you kind of just figured, all right, he must be done for the game or something happening. But at no point when he was out in the stadium did I feel like we were going to lose, because we were still doing things. There were a lot of plays and a couple calls that you kind of just scratch your head at. There was a play, obviously the pick six that got called back. I still don't think it was a penalty. That puts us up 11 with 5 minutes left if that stands.
Yeah,
which probably is too much for LSU to come back from.
Right.
There's that, and then it gets called back, and then there's a phantom offensive pass interference on a 40-yard pass play, where the refs didn't even know who it was on. They threw a flag, and then they couldn't even tell you who was on. Defensively, there was a wide receiver on LSU made a play where he originally went out of bounds, came back, made a catch, and they called a penalty on sideline. I think it was offsides.
Yeah, I remember now. I remember. Yep.
Which gave them a first down, and I believe it was a third down, but they didn't call illegal touching, which would have offset the penalties, replay the down. So there's just a couple things. I know if you talk to some Kentucky fans this week, they also might be a little perturbed at SEC officiating. I know I saw a targeting play in the Florida A&M game that kind of had me questioning, what are we looking at here?
Yeah. I mean, by rule, I get, that there is this new, what is it, the crown, the 6 inches or whatever that is, leading with that. I get that, but it's making tackling just insanely difficult, man.
Well, you can't undercut anymore. You can't go high. He went right at the waistline, and at full speed. Yeah, he didn't get his head around, but is that really worth
15 yards and
15 yards and kicking him out of the game?
Exactly. And so it's tough, man. To back you up, there were a lot of people on Twitter that weren't just, Gamecock fans. I don't have a ton of Gamecocks that I follow. Just haven't found my way all the way over there yet outside of yourself. But it's just, there was a lot of people that were in disgust of that offensive pass interference call. There was nothing there. You call it how it is. I mean, there was nothing there. And then the pick six at the end, like, that's a really hard call to stomach if I'm you guys. Like, what do you want him to do? Let that quarterback go make a play on the ball carrier? Like, I mean, it's just, they don't make that call unless it's on the quarterback specifically. If that was on a running back or a wide receiver or an O lineman, they're not throwing that penalty there. And so that's where I have a tough time with it, man. I empathize a little bit for you. I'll be honest with you. When you guys are attempting the game-winning field goal, I'm watching and kicks up, and I'd turn around and walk off because I thought it was good. And then I hear the wife screaming and talking about how it kind of hooked it a little bit. Um, Fooled me a little because he kind of pushed the one where they called the timeout. He pushed that one a little wide, and so I don't know. I just thought it whole straight, just an overall brutal day when you tie in some of the officiating, and then just how it ended. But backing up a play before that field goal attempt, do you think you guys should have ran one more play trying to get but
Absolutely. That
okay?
was my biggest gripe. I didn't have a problem really with any of the play calling outside of the final 18 seconds of the game. You got the ball, one timeout, 18 seconds. Why? I mean, we have a kicker who had attempted 7 career field goals. 7. And with 18 seconds left, why are we like we're going to settle for a 40 plus yarder when we had just the play before and the play before that, moving the ball. I know I think it just came down to Dow not trusting Robbie Ashford, and like I said, you've got to either have faith or die trying,
Yep.
because I didn't see a need to play conservatively there. You're an underdog at home with the entire country watching you. It's you go big or you go home, and we went small and still went home.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm fully in that boat as well. Um, I just it's not automatic for 49 yards. I don't care who the kicker is, and it comes down to trust. I saw coach's interview, and he kind of is skeptical about what could have gone wrong in that situation. But at the same time, I mean, like you said, what do you have to lose? You're an underdog. You're playing at home. Yes, you've led for a lot of that game, and things have kind of slipped away at the end, and you want to guarantee a shot to win it. But at the same time, give yourself the best shot to go win that game. And I love Coach Beamer. I said that before we went live. I always rooted for the guy. Loved obviously Shane, and so with Shane in the house, you guys have some Beamer magic or Beamer ball magic. It definitely felt like you guys were destined, and that's why I expected that kick to go through. But as you said in the very beginning, man, you're ready to roll on. You got Akron next. You get time to heal up with a bye after that, and then you got a massive game with Ole Miss. So if it's cool with you, I'd like to take a look at you guys' schedule right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you're looking through this, and obviously that's a pretty nasty 4 weeks there with Alabama or the before mentioned Ole Miss, and road trips to Tuscaloosa and newcomer OU, and then back at home, which is good. You get a bye week in between Oklahoma and A&M. I'm seeing that now. But just looking through here, man, like what is what is your personal like targeted win total? Are you just trying to get to 6 and get a bowl game? That is pretty tough schedule, but at the same time, there's some games on there that y'all definitely aren't going to be big underdogs in.
Yeah, so I don't look at this schedule and see it as there's any games that we can't win. I think our defense is good enough and our offense is competent enough to keep us in games that I think we have a shot to win all of them.
I
Do I
love it.
think we'll win all of them? Absolutely not. But I'm looking at it. Akron, obviously, we go in there next week. We take care of business. We're 3-1. Bye week, rest up. There's going to be a lot of emotion and a lot of hate with this Ole Miss game. It's Juice Wells returns to Columbia after what he did. I don't know if you're
Yep.
familiar with that,
I wanted juice. Yeah, absolutely.
but after what he did to us, he's coming back. It's a flex game right now. I think we figure out tomorrow what time that game's going to be. It's like a 3:30 to 8 o'clock slot. So if it's a night game, what people saw on TV with the atmosphere in the Ole Miss game or in the LSU game, it will be even louder than that. I mean, I've always said it to anyone. Williams Brice at night is the top 15 hardest place to play in the country. There's
I
just
mean,
something about it.
yeah,
But yeah, so that's there's gonna be a lot of motion in that game. Ole Miss is a very good football team. They're a very good football team.
they are.
But I still don't. I'm not chalking it up to an L. Don't Alabama going to be an early kick for us, an hour ahead. Um, So 11 a.m. kick. It's Bryant Denny Stadium. Hopefully Alabama will still be asleep. But I'm looking at Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma A&M. We've got to steal one of those games.
Yep.
We cannot go 0-4 in that stretch and hope to make a bowl game. I look at Vanderbilt. We've beaten Vanderbilt 15 years in a row. They're more improved this year. They're still not there. South Carolina's winning that game.
Yep.
Missouri, they struggled last week. I don't know if it was overlooking a BC team that maybe people didn't think were as good as they deserve to be because of Florida State really struggling. But that Castellanos is a solid quarterback. He can make things happen. They didn't look that great offensively either. The game's in Columbia, South Carolina. Um, it's a trophy game. They've won 5 in a row against us. Actually, it might be time. I think we might surprise some people in that game, and then Wofford take care of business. And obviously, every year against Clemson, I'm going to say we're going to win.
Absolutely. And y'all can definitely beat Clemson. Absolutely. I don't care where that game's played.
No, I mean we beat them last time we played in Death Valley.
Yeah. I mean, you get through that kind of that middle meat grind part of the schedule, man, and like you're saying, I mean, you get Mizzou at home. Clemson's a rivalry game where it kind of doesn't matter. You have a puncher's chance in that one, no doubt. Vanderbilt, I mean, like y'all can kind of rattle off. I like this point right here by our friend. Do you get some of the same vibes, General? Talking about, obviously you're not going to be the exact same team Mizzou was. 10 wins can be really, really difficult to pull off with that schedule, but you got to be a little buzz about the Gamecocks. I mean, you played LSU down to the wire. Should have won that game. It's got to still be a good bit of confidence going on.
Yeah, I mean Columbia's still buzzing it. It hurts a little bit because to think, you start 4-0 with Ole Miss coming to town. There's a lot of buzz,
Yep.
and especially it really hurts because with how Kentucky played Georgia, how if South Carolina wins today, how do you not say they're a top 15 team?
Yep.
But I still think even with the loss, we're still a top 25 team. But that could be there's some bias in there. But there is some buzz, and I do think we have the potential to surprise some people. And I think if you overlook South Carolina, like Kentucky did, we'll come in there and we'll whoop you.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. Y'all definitely went in there and handled Kentucky at their place a lot easier than Georgia did. And you got to, people take, I talked about it a little bit. Kentucky did look bad, yes, but there's two teams on the field, and one of them is the reason the other one looked as bad as they did, or at least part of the reason. There's obviously self-inflicted wounds on the football field, of course. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you got to have a lot of confidence, a lot of hope. I love the way that the Ole Miss game is set up for you. Yes, they're terrific, but you're coming off a bye. You're still going to be a little pissed off from that last time you saw an SEC team at home in LSU. And I mean, Oklahoma's offense, like that's not an offense that, if I'm looking at the four best units on the field, I think Oklahoma's is probably the defense is probably the best overall unit of the four with you guys. But then I'm going to put your defense and then your offense right behind that, and then a little bit of a gap in Oklahoma's offense. So I mean, like I definitely Norman's a tough place to play, no doubt. It's an SEC game on the road. Weird to say that we're SEC still, but it is what it is. And then A&M at home. I mean, who knows what they look like? Over a month and a half from now. So those four games in the middle do look tough, but like you said, win one of them. I mean, that goes a long ways, and I don't see a reason why you can't be feeling a little greedy and try to get two in there. I
Yeah,
did. I will tell you that I tweeted at your guys' football account in the off season, and I did say that I would donate $1 million to any NIL efforts if y'all would both, or if you would sweep both Oklahoma and A&M. That was after I saw y'all's schedule come out, and so definitely got an extra fan in there on those days. A lot of us actually will be rooting for y'all
absolutely.
Gamecocks. So
And Oklahoma, it is Norman's not an easy place to walk into and get a victory, but we do have the benefit of it being a noon game.
Is
So
it good?
I always think no matter what, where you play, the road team does get a slight advantage if the game is at noon.
No, I fully agree with you. Like you said earlier, you hope Alabama's asleep up there on October 12th. Um, Oklahoma, same type of situation, and so that definitely is. Crowds are a little bit quieter. Oklahoma had. I'm not trying to knock our rivals here, but I guess I am. That they had like an empty student section early in the fourth quarter against Tulane in a 5-point game. I don't know if you saw a picture of that, but I just thought that was a little weird. But I know that they'll be there for the SEC play. They'll be riled up, ready to go. Um, Tell me
They
real
got
quick, what's the overall impression of Coach Beamer in Columbia? Are you a guy that you just more time? You understand he's in deep SEC waters. He seems to have a good thing going this year, but at least around here, I want to say in the offseason, everybody kind of assumed he was just kind of a dead man walking.
Yeah, so I'm a full supporter of Shane Beamer. I'd say he has the backing of the university. For South Carolina, historically outside of Spurrier, has cycled coaches 4 to 5 years every year, and we have, I think it's an all-time winning percentage of like 514. Like we're not like, I mean, we're like historically a mediocre program um, in terms of win percentage. And it's just a cycle that if you actually understand football, you know that we just can't. If we were to fire Beamer right now, it would just be post Muschamp all over again. Beamer's done way more than Muschamp has, but we lose everything that Beamer's built and keep nothing that of the good. So we lose all of that. It's just
Yep.
not the smart move. You look at what happened last year. We went 5-7. We had 17 offensive lineman injuries. Yeah, I don't know how
That's
anyone.
hard,
I don't know how anyone wins with 17
right?
offensive lineman injuries.
Especially in
We
this
had
conference.
we had walk-ons playing starting in SEC football games. It's just not a rest. And even with that, I would say we were probably 10 plays away from bowl eligibility, maybe even less. Florida game, we were up 10 points with I think 7 minutes left. They had a 4th and 11 that they ended up converting, going down and scoring. We make a tackle there, we go 6-6. It's little things like that you know, and not to mention the fact that Shane Beamer comes in as our coach after probably one of the worst coaches in the history of South Carolina football, and Will Muschamp drove this program into the ground, lost most of our big boosters, and on top of that, two of our biggest rivals, Clemson and Georgia, have emerged as national powerhouses.
Right.
So I mean, I think there it's just I mean that's I don't know how you sit there like how anyone can sit there and be like, yeah, this is all on Beamer. If we hire someone else, it'll be any different.
Yeah, I mean, completely understand that. It's a great perspective to have. It's not an easy conference to go win football games in general. And sorry for the pun, but you can't have 17 offensive lineman injuries and expect to just have a chance in this conference. I don't care if you're Georgia, Alabama, who you are. Like you're gonna feel that. That's huge. I did not realize that. Yeah, I'm all about Coach Beamer. I think it's just you keep rocking it. Do you follow recruiting and whatnot very closely?
Yeah, I've I recently I would last year I was kind of into it. This year I've actually taken a much bigger step into following recruiting. I haven't quite gone down the path of actually watching high school games, but
Yep.
I do keep tabs with who we're looking at and how it's going.
Good, man. I mean, how do you feel Beamer's doing in that regard?
Yeah, I mean we're consistently. I mean we've gotten a couple 5 stars. We past couple cycles, stacking up the 4 stars. You can obviously see what some of the talents looking like that he's bringing in. I mean Dylan Stewart is a. I mean he's probably a first round draft pick right now.
Looks really
As,
good,
as
man.
he turned 19 on Saturday.
Wow.
And so and we went into the DMV and got him open. He picked us over Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia. The man knows how to recruit and recruit talent. It's just about recruiting enough talent and enough pieces and putting it all together on the field. And I think we're right. We're right there.
I mean, I definitely like what he's doing, man. And you can tell, obviously, this program, there's a lot of excitement around it. I referenced how cool I thought your game day atmosphere and experience was. I keep going. I don't see any reason or why any South Carolina Gamecock fans should have anything negative to say about Shane Beamer. Keep plugging, man. That's really all you can
Absolutely.
do.
And yeah,
Um,
the game day experience, the atmosphere was awesome. I got out there at about 5 a.m. I just wanted to go see. I got there about 5 a.m. and there was probably 2,000 people standing outside the gate waiting to get into game day, and it rained all morning. It was raining all morning. Did not stop. Did not stop. Gamecock fans. I've been watching games since I was 6 years old. And I'll tell you, it doesn't matter if we're 0-11, we're 11-0, never happened. But we show up, we're a passionate fan base, and we want nothing more to see us win. And it was awesome. That stadium was packed and it was loud. I mean, I don't know if you could really tell on TV, but
oh, you could.
it was loud in there. It was the loudest I've ever heard a noon game in Williams-Brice. I had LSU fans who were there tell me it felt like the stadium was shaking. And and we've had a lot of trouble with our student section recent years. They get a lot of flack. We also have a really high northern student rate. There's always a joke about stop letting the New Jersey kids come to the school, but they showed out. They were there the whole game. The whole student section was packed, so that was cool to see. It was, I mean, it was an awesome experience. Obviously, would have been even better to get the win, but I mean, it shows that there's a lot of promise in this program.
I'll come in there 1 second, bub. Solo dad duty tonight. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool atmosphere, a real cool watch on TV. I mean, it definitely seemed loud. It looked humid as hell. I don't know if you can't see humidity, but it. So you saying it rained that morning makes sense, but really really impressive that you guys have that many folks there at 5 a.m. getting ready for an 11 a.m. kickoff. Um, the cockpit was awesome. I thought they did a great job. Other than this picture, you probably pissed at me for having to look at for the last 27 minutes, but
It's a pretty funny photo. I can't
I
lie.
mean,
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that many surrender cobras in one photo ever. I
I
mean, I thought it went in. I thought the field goal went in too. I was the same way. I had my hands over my head like that because it looked good. I mean, I think it ended up missing by like an inch outside the field goal post, and it looked like it was going in the whole time. And I was on the 35-yard line, home side, opposite of that field goal. So like, I couldn't really tell until I saw the ref, say the no good
wave it
sign. I
off.
just kind of stood there for a second, didn't say anything, and you got to go. Dang, that's
Yeah, I would have been surprised if there's a few other words in there too. But I mean, sorry about it, man. It was definitely a tough ball game. I really appreciate you getting on here and talking about it so easily. I need a little more time. Typically when we lose to OU, what seems like every October, but to get over that one, I probably if that happens again this year, I'll probably take the week off from the channel. So big respect to you for reaching out, and saying, hey, let's do this. And because I was gonna give you, like I said, I was gonna give you a little space and make sure you still wanted to do it and you're ready to talk about it. So all you guys in the whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Twitter, do me a favor, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, show General Will some love. Going to try to have a lot of guests on from all across the SEC. Fun making these connections. These guys have very graciously accepted us into their conference, and Will is always a really good follow on X. What's the full at for you on Will on X, Will?
it's Gamecock Will 69.
How perfect. And so, yeah, you guys give him a follow. And if you're watching on Twitter, all you got to do is go to my profile. You'll see a link in there that will take you to the YouTube channel. And please go subscribe. And once again, like it, show General some love. He's done a great job talking about a brutal Saturday, but that a lot of us are really interested in. It was a great watch. I feel like it had most of the nation's attention, from or 12 to about 4:30 over there in South Carolina. But before we get you out of here, Will, let me tell you one thing, or let me ask you one thing. Go ahead and give me a win total. Like, what do you think the number is for the Gamecocks? What do you think you get to? I'm not going to bring this up later on. I'm rooting against injuries. There's no way to really tell it. It's kind of hard to go game by game. But what number makes you a happy Gamecock?
What would make me a happy Gamecock is 7-5. I'd feel good with 7-5. But I'll tell you what, 11-1's on the table.
Let's go. That's the right attitude to have, man. I love that. I'll have to send you the tweet. I predicted you guys at 7-5 before the season, and I had some funny things said to me for that. I'll just say that I like Beamer a lot. Big believer in him. Do you have anything for me? Any questions you want to ask? Anything else about the Gamecocks or last Saturday you want to bring up?
No, man, I just want to thank you for having me. It's been a good time talking to you. Obviously we lost. That sucks, but I love talking football. I don't get to talk it enough. So
Well,
you can never talk football enough, in my opinion.
I'll try to pressure you into it by doing it on live. But how about after that Ole Miss game? We get you back on here, or maybe before, whatever you prefer. Get you back on here, let you talk about that one, because you're gonna be what, 3-1 headed into that one. If I'm looking at the schedule right, I mean, it's gonna be a massive game. That's gonna be a big time game for you guys. So if you want to, brother, let's get on and chop it up again. I've certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be their first time coming back since I don't know if you knew it, but they came here in '09 when they were ranked number 4 and we beat them 16-10, and that was the birth of Sandstorm. So
You want to talk about that game? That hurt a little bit. Let me tell you this. I was very young and dumb at that time, barely out of high school, and I was at a poker game, and a guy was like, "Hey, man, you should get on my sports book." And the very first bet that I ever made in life was Ole Miss money line against Steve Spurrier, South Carolina, Jadeveon Clowney. Right? Was that when
no, it was
that?
before.
But way
It was
before who?
Eric Norwood, like Jasper
Okay,
and Casper Brinkley days.
yeah, dude,
Steve,
it didn't feel like it 16-10. It felt like a bigger win than that because y'all just really, really kind of stymied. I think it was Jevin Sneed back then for Ole Miss, maybe, but
yeah,
y'all locked them down. So I love the history buff, college football fan. That's very similar to my line of thinking. And so if you pulling a game back from 15 years ago and knowing some players and stuff, man, let's get you back on here. Is my point.
absolutely. I'm down.
All righty, guys. Well, once again, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Got a lot of fun things coming on. Tomorrow, Hayes Fawcett will be joining the channel, talking a little bit of SEC recruiting. That's at 2 o'clock Central Time. So you guys check in for that. Got Gunnar Helm's dad, Blake Helm, coming on Wednesday. We also have our Ghost Gambles and Brandy Bet show on Wednesday as well. So a lot of action coming up on the channel. Please go show some love. Got a lot of fun things going on. And one last thank you, Will. Sign us off, brother.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for listening. And as always, go